Hey Brandon, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Want to hear a really funny joke?
Yep.
Knock knock.
Who is it?
Racial profiling.
Racial profiling who?
Racial profiling exists in our society and it's a major problem. Define racial profiling. What does it mean to you?
What is racial profiling? Define racial profiling.
What does racial profiling mean to you?
What's racial profiling mean to you?
To my understanding, racial profiling is choosing and selecting people based on their race and maybe denying them some rights and maybe some discrimination.
Judging somebody based on the color of their skin.
When someone judges another person on their race or how they look even.
Okay, so to me, racial profiling occurs when an individual is targeted by police solely based on their race or ethnic background.
I'd say racial profiling to me means that it's when different colors of skin and or people who look different or act different, or some people are smarter than others and stuff. I think it's more based on, from my personal experience, it's more like people don't like differences. So they find that the white guy doesn't get along with the black guy. It's really common where I'm from, up north. Racial profiling is a big impact. If I'm from the north, having to come into the city has a big cultural shock for me. So it's really hard for me to act normal around all these different races.
Okay, what would you say is the main cause of it?
The main cause of racial profiling? What do you think the main cause of it is?
What do you think are the main causes of racial profiling?
What do you think the main cause of racial profiling is?
What are some causes of racial profiling?
Based on what we're learned or taught as kids, I guess, and the environment you grow up in.
It could be anything. It could be the way you're brought up, or even the media nowadays. The media's everywhere, internet.
You can go back all the way to the 60s, really, where we had the whites against the blacks, where the blacks had to go to the washroom in their own personal bathroom. That the whites were normal people and the blacks were not. I mean, big cause. I found that's a huge impact on what happened. And there's been a lot of songs to do with it, and a lot of percentages of the black people being in jail is a big thing. So we see a lot of white officers these days, or not even these days, back in the days, we'll always see a black person with a nice car and they're young. They immediately will assume that the black guy stole the car or making drug money to get the car, right? It's a really known fact. Probably a high percentage of it is statistics.
I think the main cause of racial profiling could be ethnocentrism, and maybe people aren't comfortable with other races. And then I guess also just it probably occurs because stereotypes are pretty prevalent in our society.
We're here to talk about racial profiling today. What would you say racial profiling is in your own words?
Racial profiling has been around for a while. It came to a head a number of years ago, specifically around 2000, 2001. Chief Fantino was interviewed by the Toronto Star, and the Toronto Star had done a study with respect to racial profiling, and they basically ambushed Chief Fantino into a series of questions with respect to the racial profiling that took place within the Toronto Police Service at that time. They issued a number, the Toronto Star then issued a number of stories with respect to racial profiling, and it had to do with statistical information in terms of people being pulled over. What's the percentage of people being pulled over that we would describe as visible minorities versus white people being pulled over? And the Star had been armed with a whole series of statistical information that depicted the Toronto Police Service officers having a higher occasion of pulling over people that were visible minorities. And then they went into other, like how many of the drug dealers were people of visible minority? How many people involved in different types of crimes what were the percentage of visible minorities versus white people. And then, of course, it went into deeper, like with respect to the compared the ratio of residents, how many white people lived in the city of Toronto versus how many people of visible minorities that lived in the city of Toronto. So it has been something that evolved over a period of time.
So you believe it's present in like the work of policing?
You know, it's difficult to say it's present 100% of the time. It is present because of it's an individuality thing. Now, is it systemic right across the policing service? That's really difficult to determine whether it's systemic. Because if you're saying the Toronto Police Service is systematically using racial profiling, that means basically what you're saying that front and center, right across the service, police officers within the Toronto Police Service are using a method called racial profiling. In other words, they're picking on people just because of the color of their face or the color of their skin, the color of their hair, or whatever, right? So I don't believe it's a systematic problem or a systemic problem. I believe it does occur from time to time within individual police officers. Now that may not necessarily be evident right off the top on the surface, but you know, when studies are conducted and they show a preponderance of people from a visible minority segment within the community are being arrested and charged with specific types of offenses, there seems to be a theory that racial profiling does occur under those circumstances.
How's it going? Today I'm here with Sam Samford, who's a second-year Police Foundation student at Humber College, the Lakeshore campus. Sam, thanks for talking to me today.
No problem. I'd be more than happy to talk about this.
All right, cool, man. So the first question I wanted to ask you was racial profiling. What does it mean to you?
Personally, it means three things to me. It means generalization, discrimination, and stereotypes. Personally, I've come across all three of them. Being a Persian, Middle Eastern, whatever you want to specify me as, I've come across it every day.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you specifically was because of an incident that I know where you were attacked because of the color of your skin and because you were wearing a soccer jersey. So if you just want to talk about that, just the situation a little bit and how that made you feel and how you reacted to it.
Yep, it pretty much took place last year in my first year of residence, first year of college. Myself and Steve Macero, it was on a Friday night, typical Friday night in residence. Everyone's drinking, having fun, partying it up. We decided to go light on that night. We went to go play some video games in one of the fourth floor lounges, actually. I had my laptop, Steve had his Xbox, I was carrying games and whatever, minding my own business. Steve was minding his own business. We didn't even talk to anyone. We're just walking straight in there. There's this white Caucasian male. He decided to just attack me for no reason, like not physically, verbally, obviously. What happened was he started making fun of the color of my skin. He started generalizing me. He's calling me brown. He doesn't understand the differences between Persian, Arabic, and the brown people. I'm assuming like Pakistani, Indian, and so forth. Yeah. He started telling me to go back to my country. I have no right to be here. Just random, stuff that was unneeded. I had no business with him. I didn't even know who he was, so it couldn't even be a joke.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I was personally very fired up, and I had no reason, like no idea. It just frustrated me. Like it bothers me now knowing that this still takes place in Canada, even though we're the most multicultural country out there. Right? Yeah. I had nothing to do with him, and I got attacked. You saw me. I was fairly frustrated and upset.
I was just more surprised at how you controlled yourself. You know, you did the right thing, staying calm. The things he was saying were just completely unacceptable, and like I said, like the way you handled it, like I'm proud of you, man.
Thanks.
Because like it was like horseshit, pretty much. You know, like it's not acceptable. There's no need for it at all, and just like the way you handled it was really, really good.
Definitely. Like I honestly, you calmed me down. Honestly, if it wasn't there, I was actually so frustrated because I've never come across something like that where you absolutely did not deserve it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Some people, I understand if they're gonna fight or whatever, that's a different story. But when someone doesn't deserve it and is just getting verbally attacked for no reason, just for the color of their skin, is unbelievable. It's just not needed. And it didn't stop there. Steve even noticed it. I even noticed it. There's little windows above us and everything. And he started mocking me up there and writing little notes and putting up on the screen and like started mooning me. Like it was definitely like totally uncalled for. To a point where he actually came into the lounge, if you remember.
Yeah.
He said something else, something about my soccer jersey. Just because I was wearing a soccer jersey, he said that all you people are the same, blah, 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 blah. He was just being horrible.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know. Like, I was surprised I even controlled myself the way I did. It bothered me. That's nothing else I can say to that.
The reality of the situation is he would have dummied the guy. So, good job, Sam. And thanks for talking to me today, man.
Just
Really
gonna
appreciate
say,
it.
look at that.